Strong is brought to you by Blickman Engineering, home of the top-tier brewing stand. Visit them online at blickmanengineering.com.
It's time for the beer radio you've been looking for. This is the show that dispels myths, tackles the toughest topics, and makes no apologies for geeking out on beer. Hosted by two guys that drink before they think, Jamil and John Palmer. This is Brew Strong.
Hey, howdy, hey, my brewing brothers and sisters.
Greetings, cretins.
All right, we're back in the studio for another fine edition of Brew Strong.
Yes, we are. This should be an interesting show.
Yeah,
as opposed to the others.
It's quality.
Yeah.
No, and one of the things that you've had a change in your status. You are now full-time beer geekery.
That's right. I've given up the day job and or been torn away from it or torn myself away from it, depending on how I feel at the moment.
Yeah. So you've been up doing research for the water book and
and it must
delivering kegs to my house and
Palmer delivery service. But yeah, it's been really cool. It's it's neat having all the time I want to devote to beer. So it's kind of, make a decision to go visit Stone Brewery on the spur of the moment, and I can do that.
Right.
So, yeah, here we are.
Cool. Well, and I wanted to mention our fine sponsor. I didn't have a good segue off of that. You
I see.
Kind of left me with nothing.
That's your fault, Palmer.
I thought you were going to say something about, you should come by and visit Heretic Brewing, but
I was, and then I just said, no, that's just too easy, and people expect that. Just self-aggrandizing or whatever the phrase would be. No, I want to talk about our fine sponsor, John Blickman.
Yes,
Blickman Engineering.
With two N's.
Yes. Blickman Engineering with, there's more than two N's in Blickman Engineering.
Yeah, there's an ick, too.
Right. Yeah, there's ick. You can't make Blickman without ick.
Yeah. Does he put the ick back in Blickman?
I think he does. Yeah.
He puts the ick in a lot of things. But what he puts into his top-tier brew systems is quality engineering, quality products.
Yep.
All their products there. Lots of clever. I would describe their products as clever in a lot of ways.
Yeah, not to overuse a overused word, but I mean he does innovate. There's a lot of innovation.
Innovative.
Yeah.
There you go.
And you think of innovation, you think of 3M. Perhaps, but Blickman.
Not really.
Yeah,
I think like sticky notes.
Yeah, I think of Scotch tape.
Scotch tape. Yeah, that's innovative. Yeah, it's only been around 100 years. Time for something new.
Well, I didn't know 3M was a Scottish company either.
No, but they are cheap.
They're in Scotland. Yes, they're cheap.
Bad jokes coming off right away.
Yeah.
That would be the word I'd use for Blickman Engineering. One word, innovative.
Yeah.
All the products, innovative. And good stuff. And they're a great sponsor. They're paying for the show, so you don't have to. So if you get a chance, go by and check out that BlickmanEngineering.com site. And, they're always got new products. I think every year he comes out with something new and fantastic. And recently that Tower of Power. I'm waiting on the Blickman griddle.
Yeah, griddle attachment.
The griddle attachment for the top tier. I think that would be fantastic. Be able to brand your steaks with the Blickman logo. And check it out and send them an email. Tell them how much you appreciate that they make the show go. Well, in this show, we've got a couple of guests in the studio, and we're going to be talking about getting your beer into the marketplace. These guys, it's Patrick Horn and Bryan Hermannsson, and they have started up a Pacific Brewing Laboratory in San Francisco. How you guys doing, Patrick, Bryan?
Doing good. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Enjoying the ambiance of the Rat Pad?
Yes, I love it. The beer is tasting good.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about your brewery and how you got started and where you're at now.
Sure. I'll start. So we started in a small warehouse space in the Soma district of San Francisco about 2 years ago, just kind of messing around on a 10-gallon Sabco system, and just invited our friends and girlfriends and wives to come by and while we were brewing, and that quickly grew into a much larger group, and kind of word of mouth started traveling, and we started realizing that people liked what we were doing, and so we would just open up our doors every other week and invite people in and have them come try our beer for free, and they were nice enough to sometimes leave a little money behind so we could kind of keep doing what we were doing, and we kept doing that, and it dawned on us to maybe do this for a living, and so about 10 months ago we started the process of doing this, and it took about 10 months to kind of get where we are now, so as a fully licensed and ready to go brewery.
We're basically Garage Brew that's gone pro, and we tested it with the locals. They liked the beer, we liked what we were doing, so we decided, let's do this for a living. And we have completely different backgrounds. I'm an engineer, Patrick has been a lobbyist, so we come from two sides of the coin, but we come together and really complement each other and to get the job done. And we like good beer, just like everybody. So
Cool.
And so the way this came to pass was, Patrick, you sent me an email asking if I'd be willing to talk with you guys about how you kind of, I guess, break into the marketplace, how you start getting your beer out to accounts, how you grow your accounts, things like that.
So, our biggest, or my biggest reason for reaching out is, we wanted to reach out to people that we respected in the industry and people that were,
and they didn't answer, so you came
you're at the bottom of a very long list. No, no, you were definitely the first person we sent an email to, which is great. And you responded. But it's, we wanted to talk with people that have been in the industry not for like 20 years. People that were newish to getting their beer out there and having to slug it out and kind of do that early on, and because they have the kind of the most pertinent experience to what Bryan and I are going to be going into very, very, very soon. So that was the main reason that we wanted to come and sit down and chat with you a little bit, and so kind of gain the knowledge that you have gained over over some experience.
I'm not sure if I'm the best person to ask, but I have learned a few things over the past 6 months or whatever about distribution and marketing and breaking into different locations, and so and this way I get a show out of it, so it saves me from having to come up with other material. So I think it's a win-win, as they say in the business. All right, well, let's do this. Let's take a short break, and when we come back, we'll get into the mechanics of distribution. Back after this.
When you hear Blickman Engineering, think innovation, passion, quality, and customer service. Blickman gear is designed by brewers to give you a sense of pride in your equipment. At Blickman, they know what makes brewing a pain and build gear that makes it fun. Like the intuitive beer gun, a completely different approach to filling bottles. The Therminator Wort Chiller, a new take on a plate chiller that's sized for flow, performance, and the high groundwater temps homebrewers face every day. The Brewmometer, a brilliant weldless thermometer design with brewing parameters right on the dial. The Autosparge, ultimate simplicity for preventing an overflow or running your mash tun dry. And much more, like the modular top-tier brewing stand, conical fermenters, and their Boilermaker brew pots. With more cutting-edge equipment coming soon, keep up with the latest from Blickman at blickmanengineering.com and stay on the cutting edge.
Hi, this is Push from the Brewing Network, and I want to tell you about the Brewmaster's Warehouse and how you can get 10% off your next order. I'm a pretty techie guy, but I've never seen an online store like this. It's awesome. Go to brewmasterswarehouse.com and click on Brew Builder. You can whip up a custom recipe so easily even Sven could do it. Seriously, it's slick. You can share your recipe with your own logo and notes to the Brewmasters database if you want, and the best part, it keeps a running tally of the beer you're building while you're doing it. Then, bam, click Buy Recipe, and your cart is filled and ready to go with helpful suggestions in case you forgot something. This thing is amazing. Brewmasters Warehouse is run the way a home brewer would do it, with great service, fast turnaround, and $6.99 flat rate shipping. Brewmasters Warehouse and the Brew Builder blew me away. Check it out today at brewmasterswarehouse.com. I'm serious. And don't forget to put BN Army in the discount code box for 10% off your order. Check out brewmasterswarehouse.com. Cheers.
A heretic is anyone who does not conform to an established attitude, doctrine, or principle.
If you love craft beer, you're already a heretic.
The very first thing we did when we started looking at the beers that we would brew, we got rid of all those recipes. We started from scratch. We've been pilot brewing the most creative things that we could think of and the most interesting things. We've completely gone away from style.
Heretic Brewing Company is opening this spring in Pittsburgh, California, and you can be a part of it. Visit hereticbrewing.com and facebook.com/hereticbrew. Get the latest updates on the brewery and upcoming beers. Show everyone how you celebrate great beer as a heretic.
It's a fairly powerful word. Being a heretic, that means you're not settling for ordinary beer. You are going with flavorful, creative, bold, interesting beers. A heretic is looking for the best beers out there.
Be a heretic. Don't drink ordinary beer. Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
Back to the two guys that know how to turn beer into beer. This is Brew Strong.
All right, we're back. We're talking about with Patrick and Bryan from Pacific Brewing Laboratory, and about how you get into distribution and how you get your beers out into the marketplace. Now, so you told us a little bit about your history, how you guys got together, and the 10 Gallon Batch size. So what are you doing now? Give us a little bit more history, and how much have you gotten out into the marketplace, or what are you doing so far?
Well, for the most part, our following of people that we gained through our brew nights, we just invited people over. They'd get on our email list, and that email list became very valuable. So we send out an email and we say, "Don't come to our garage anymore. Come to these bars." And
see, now that's a good idea right there.
So we're sort of redirecting this following of people who all have had our beer before, and they know what to expect, and now they can gather in a more respectable, legal place. So that's what we're doing, and we're having several launch parties next week. One at City Beer on Tuesday, one at La Trappe on Wednesday, and the last one at Shotwell's on Thursday. So hopefully we're going to redirect people there, and then a lot of word of mouth for landing accounts, and we're just kind of knocking on bars and restaurants and saying, would you like this beer? That's pretty much our strategy with, in addition to Twitter, Facebook, and everything.
We also found that, with social media in general, especially Twitter, was a really valuable tool of getting people to kind of start following what we're doing. It's fast. you get something, you get
It's
something
free.
It's very free. Yeah,
The pricing's quite right.
Exactly. So we were able to market in a very cost-effective way.
Right.
But when you, and especially with Twitter now, like you can say, we would ask questions like, where would you like to see our beer? And people would put the the hashtags of those bars, and then all of a sudden those bars Twitter feeds would start seeing us on it, and so they'd be like, well, everybody's talking about this, and so it was a great way for us to kind of snowball our kind of our brand and what we were doing. At least in the SF Bay area. So.
And we crowdsourced our tap handle design. Somebody sent me a 3D model, and I cut it out of wood. That was from Twitter. Just tweeted out. Anyone have a good 3D model? And
it's a large squid, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, that's a squid. Yeah.
What does that look like to you?
Hey, we have one just like that. Where is it? Oh, it's over there on the table.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The listener brought this to us from Bali.
And here's the local squid here.
Yeah. That's a Pacheco squid right there.
Wow. The other squid. Wow. It's beautiful.
I don't need. I'm okay. I don't need that.
You don't need to touch that. Okay.
It is kind of a beautiful thing. I mean, no, whatever.
It's not as big as your squid, but
it's not.
It's okay.
Nice
Thank you.
It works just the same.
Thank you.
You don't want it to ink on you.
Right. Well, yeah, all those sound great, and I think as far as those initial accounts and those events, I think most places, if you can bring, what size package are you distributing the beer in? Are these going out in 6 barrels or
5-gallon kegs?
Yeah, if you're doing 5 gallons. What you want to do is get enough people that you drive into the place to like drain that keg, right then and there. And if you can do that, in that evening, the bar owner is going to be like, wow, that's fantastic. They're going to be really impressed. If you can get 20 people to go buy 2 pints apiece, or if you can get, 50 people to come into the place and make it crowded, especially midweek, a lot of places, if you can get, 40, 50 people to show up, they notice. They're going to be, think it's just the greatest thing since sliced bread. And if you do that, they'll talk to other people, or people, you can go to other accounts and you can say, we had a pint night at City Beer, and they ran out in 3 hours, or we had 50 people down there on a Tuesday night, or whatever it might be. And other bar owners, when they hear that, they're like, well, yeah, can you do that for us? Because that's one of the biggest things that I found is,
aside from the pole dancing,
aside from my years pole dancing, is that the bar owners are looking for an opportunity to drive people in, and if you can help them do that, they find that to be more valuable than your beer. They'll try just about any beer. It's easy to get beer into places nowadays. All you got to, if they've never heard of you, you take them a sample. I don't know how good samples are, but because a lot of them, they won't even taste them right then and there. But there's plenty of good beer bars that'll take chances on new beers and new breweries. And if you go in personally and talk to them, explain, hey, I'm the owner, I'm the brewer, I want you to try our beer, and tell me what you think, and I'd like an opportunity to get our beer in here and maybe do something with you. They like that sort of thing. They like an opportunity, a reason, an event that they don't have to really do anything for other than get your beer in, and then tell people that you're going to be there.
So does that mean every time we land an account, we should throw a big party?
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, we hope to have about 40 accounts or something to start with, and that's a lot of parties.
Right.
Well, we were thinking also of doing, trying to do at least twice a month, trying to do like meet the brewer events at, different bars, which again doesn't take any effort on their part other than like sending out like on their calendar or on their mailing list, being like, Tuesday night's going to be meet the brewer night, Pack Brew Live is going to be there, and they're going to have their beer. And so come on out, and we'll send, obviously we'll send it out to our group as well. And we were thinking that's another good way of, kind of getting that buy-in from that account.
I think it's it's a great tool to use to get the accounts to be interested in what you're doing, and I think it also helps with the the customers, because you'll meet people at these things and you talk to them and tell them about yourself, and people love that. They love the connection with the brewer and what's going on. When we call around for sales calls, generally either my wife or Charlie, they call around to the accounts and say, hey, what do you need this week? We've got this, we got that, and we just kegged a fresh batch of whatever. And, the sales go well. But if, like, my wife can't do it one week and I do it instead and I call around, we'll get double the sales. And I'm not doing anything different than what she's doing. I'm like, hey, just calling to see if you need any beer this week. And, people are like, oh, hey, how you doing? They want to talk a little bit, and then, they tend to just take a little bit more beer.
Are these people that have tasted your beer before, and you're just like...
Well, yeah, it's places that already have the beer on.
Okay.
But it's because, again, I think that connection with the brewer, they like that sort of thing. They feel, that it's valuable. If, one of the things when you get into distribution that the distributors would like is that you go and meet the accounts. And going and meeting the accounts, they really appreciate it. It's a chance for them to connect. They feel like they know something about it. Then they can, when their customer comes in, they can say, well, the guy from the owner of Heretic was in here last week, and we talked about this, and I asked about that, and then that makes them, a better place to drink in the eyes of their consumer too. So it really helps them. You're trying to help those retailers do a better job. In serving their customers, and they the more that you do that, the more they appreciate, the more value they see in your product line. So they'll ask you to do things like that. You're not going to do anything illegal. Sometimes people ask you for like free stuff. You can't. You can give away, I think, to retailers things up to the value of $0.25, but no more than $15 worth, something like that. So you can give them like coasters.
Gotcha.
But, you adding that value to what they're doing, they appreciate that. That's a differentiator. When they can order all these different beers off a list, being able to get yours from you, and if you make the ordering and delivery easy on them, then they're just like, and the pricing's just about the same. It's like, all right, well, I'll go with these guys because when I need a little help, they're there, or they're offering to, come and meet and, meet and greet customers, things like that. It really helps.
Do you find also, are you finding that you're having to educate some of your accounts or some of the staff at the accounts on what you're doing? Because our beers are also very non-traditional. Like we don't brew anything. We're never going to brew like an IPA, like a traditional IPA or traditional.
Yeah, I didn't think we would either. No, I still don't think we have.
Right. No, I mean, no, I think there's
a really weird, stanky one.
I would consider, like a wet hop double IPA, not a traditional IPA.
Right.
So, I mean, what you're doing is non-traditional. What we're doing, what we're striving to do is non-traditional. So, are you finding that you're having to educate, again, staff and accounts on kind of that?
That's a very interesting, because one of the things I realized is, like the Evil Twin beer, that we call it a West Coast red, right? And if you look at it, it's kind of like between a red and a brown. It's not quite a brown, it's not quite a red, it's kind of in there. It's just like a really dark, kind of weird beer. And it has some of the flavors of a brown, has some of the flavors of a red. It's kind of a tweener. If we called it a brown, then we would sell less than if we call it a red. And you could call it either, but calling it a red helps it sell. And what people don't like is long, drawn-out explanations of the beer. When you go in to sell your beer at a place, have a short, brief description that they can latch onto. If I was to go in and say, "Oh, we get Evil Twin. It's not quite a red. It's not quite a brown. It's kind of this long, drawn-out explanation."
It's a tweener.
You see them kind of, their eyes glaze over, and they're like, "Yeah, well, whatever." If you go in and you say, "We've got this, West Coast red. It's a deep, rich red, with malty character and lots of hop," then they're like, "Oh, That sounds really, really good. I'll take one of those. If you go in and explain, that it's not exactly, the West Coast Red or whatever you might want to call it, they don't want to hear that.
Or they might go, I was kind of looking for something in between that and a brown. Do you have anything like that?
Right. Yeah.
See, that market you're losing out on.
I've never had that happen so far. Yeah. But that's, needing to educate, a lot of we got a lot of places around here where the bar owners or the people buying beer, they've seen a lot of different beers and they know it, and it's really not difficult at all. You don't have to teach them. Sometimes it's good to educate, the bar staff because they won't. Well, the person buying it, a lot of times they already know. And all you got to do is say West Coast Red, or, just say, well, and it's also good to, I think, have other beers in the marketplace that you're kind of similar to. And, even if, it's very rare that there's nothing you're similar to. You can say, I'll say, it's along the lines of, but it's, drier or it's hoppier or it's, this or that. And then they go, oh, yeah, okay. If you can compare it to something they've already heard of, already tasted, it makes it that much quicker. All of a sudden, you've associated in their minds. All right. And I don't know whether it's fair or not, but it's almost, I would bet, since you're talking about it in the same vein, it's like, well, a quality level as well. So I wouldn't compare yourself with any crappy beer.
Right. Yeah.
Don't say it's like Heretic something or other, because that'll just shoot you in the foot,
Noted.
You want to, choose like Russian River, all my beers are like Russian River. Yeah.
You'll love it.
Yeah, no, Russian River.
It's like Pliny.
Yeah, it's like Pliny. It's like Pliny. Just yeah.
Yeah, just for the sake of discussion, I mean, what products are you distributing?
Right, we're starting with Squid Ink, which is our black IPA. We have it right here. We can start with that next if you guys want.
Okay.
And I think we're going to say that it's dark, hoppy, aromatic, and 7%.
Yeah.
It's pretty much what it is.
It's rich and chocolatey, but hoppy, and we dry hop the heck out of it.
What is it like, though, if you were to choose a beer?
I would have to say that I don't think there's any good Cascadian dark ales on the market right now, except for ours. I mean,
it's got to be some.
Who do I compare it to?
Stone has a great
Stone.
one.
Oh yeah, Stone's
Sublimely self-righteous.
Yeah, I think that's a great beer. I would say it's close to that. We're a little less dry, I think, than that beer. We're a little maltier.
Right. So there's you go. It's similar to Stone, Sublime, and Self-Righteous, but a little maltier.
Yeah.
That would be your comparison.
Definitely.
And you always say similar to. You never say it's the same as, because it's not. And that, I think that's probably like illegal or something. But you can say it's similar to, similar vein as, it's along the lines of. And I think that helps them. And you're not trying to pull a fast one on anybody. You're just trying to help them very quickly understand what it is you're trying to sell. They don't have a whole lot of time to waste. So what they want to know is, what is it you're trying to sell? How much is it? And, who the hell are you again?
That's right. Well, I think it helps create a baseline for them to, to then,
wrap their head around it.
Exactly.
And that's the kind of thing they tell their wait staff, too. I mean, once you introduce this beer, say it's similar to this, and then the wait staff feels much more confident about encouraging people to try it.
And that's something we really want to work on is working with wait staff at our accounts, and so that and having them become also kind of our spokespeople. Having them, and if we have their buy-in, and somebody comes in the bar and says, "Well, I'm looking for something like this," I say, "Hey, have you tried Pacific Brew Lab's new Squid Ink? It's really great," and they'll hopefully they'll order more than one. They like it.
Well, and one of the things to do is to come up with sell sheets. So a single sheet with all the information on it, short description, long description, ingredients, all the measurements, IBU, ABV, all that stuff. And, products that it might compare to, things like that. And, doing that, I think, really helps. And having those for accounts. And then the accounts, people will, misplace those. You can try tying one to your keg or something. I don't know. But, being able to read that, I think, helps them. And then, you'll just have to go in and every once in a while, it's good to go around your accounts and just sit down and order a beer and talk to the people serving it, and explain who you are, and be friendly and all that.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
That's amazing. We've heard some story. We have a lot of good friends in the industry, and we've definitely heard of brewers coming in and just sitting down and treating the staff horribly, and we're like, what's the point of that? Like, why would you do that? It seems
I'll tell you, I tip far bigger than I ever did before.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's like, you bring me a beer? Oh, yeah, that's $5 tip right there. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't, you got to be careful about that, the sort of thing. You can't be bribing people, but, just treating the staff appropriately and being friendly. I think, they appreciate that as well. Because then they can say, yeah, guy from the brewery was in the other day. He's a really nice guy. Try their beer.
Yeah.
It personalizes it, I think. Makes a big difference.
Or the story, I talked to the brewer about this beer, and he says this.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, if you can tell them what's in it. Some people, they want to know what's in it. Some people want to know, I don't know, other things you're doing at the brewery, or, maybe it's, we contribute to, some charity that's the favorite of somebody. Mm-hmm. Different things resonate with different people.
Yeah. Contribute to global warming with your CO2 output.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I'll buy a beer any day for that.
All right, let's do this. Let's take a short break, and when we come back, we'll kind of get into a little bit more on distribution. Back after this.
What does craft beer mean to you? Is it a delicious way to support your town's local brewer? Or perhaps it's the perfect beverage to pair with those delicious devils on horseback? Regardless of whether you're thinking of pints or pairings, pilsners or porters, craftbeer.com is the site where craft beer lovers come together to learn and share. Craftbeer.com is brought to you by the Brewers Association and celebrates the best of American craft beer and its brewers. Craftbeer.com is the best place to find craft beer events, recipes, great feature stories, the most up-to-date brewery listings, and resources for your next beer tasting or dinner, like style guidelines, pairing mats, and charts. Get the inside scoop on new beer releases and special events from today's craft beer insiders, and chime in to share your own knowledge, perfect pairings, road trips, recipes, and more. Craftbeer.com, celebrating the best of American beer.
BN Army, HopTech has a great discount waiting for you. Do you often find it difficult to find specific specialty ingredients for your homebrew recipes? Well, listen to this. HopTech stocks 59 different grains to choose from, 39 varieties of pellet hops, and 8 kinds of whole leaf hops. And HopTech not only carries Y yeast and White Labs yeast for you, but also Fermentus, 04, 5, 6, 23, 33, and T58 Belgian yeast, plus Cooper's, Nottingham, and Windsor yeasts. Got your recipe ready to go? Pick up some great brew gear like new long and short sleeved shirts, games, and more. HopTech's new website is being updated every day with new items. If you don't see it, call the shop. They're open 6 days a week. BN Army and AHA members get a 10% discount, and active military personnel get 15% off. Visit HopTech.com today for great selection, great service, and a great discount. HopTech.com.
Nico, listen, our lawyers said that we had to do this for 1 hour, and after this, we don't have to talk to each other for 3 more months, I think, to the next meeting.
Kids, come on, let's get out of here.
I'm supposed to have more lines. I'm the professional. Hey, it's Sully.
And I'm Nico.
And we opened the 21st Amendment 9 years ago at 563 2nd Street in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park, to make great beer and have a great time doing it.
That's right, because to us, the 21st Amendment is more than just the right to make beer. It's the right to experiment, to be innovative, and just do things differently. And so now, we're putting our craft beer in cans.
That's right, cans. You can find our world-famous Hell or High Watermelon Wheat Beer and Brew Free or Die IPA throughout California and Alaska.
And now it's also available on draft at select accounts in the Bay Area.
So next time you're at your local neighborhood pub or good beer store, be sure to ask for 21st Amendment in cans.
Because everyone likes it in the can.
Tasty crack cans.
Tasty crack can.
Williams Brewing is your online resource for prompt delivery of quality home brewing supplies. Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and freshest ingredients and the best customer service in the business. Cut hours off your brewing sessions by using one of our 11 varieties of famous Williams malt extract. Our Williams Belgian Pale Extract is mashed with pure Belgian two-row malt and a small percentage of Belgian wheat malt for an authentic Belgian character you just can't get from other extracts. Or check out our unique fermenters, 2.5-gallon kegs, paintball tank-based draft beer equipment, bottling aids, and much more. We even have our own line of precision hydrometers. Go to WilliamsBrewing.com to browse our vast selection. That's WilliamsBrewing.com. Orders placed by 3:30 p.m. Pacific Time ship the same day. Brewing is easy. The Williams way.
Hi, this is John from Grain & Grape in Melbourne, Australia. This has been a big year for us. We've just celebrated our 21st birthday and we've been voted best home brew shop in Australia. We reckon that makes us pretty much the best brew shop in the Southern Hemisphere. Now we've got the ultimate fix for all you space poor, time poor and lapsed brewers. The all-in-one Braumeister is now at Grain & Grape and it's a beauty. There are 20, 50 and 200 litre systems. It lets you complete a temperature-controlled mash, boil and cool, all within the same stainless steel mains-powered unit. So if you live in an apartment, you don't have the time to complete a traditional brew day, or are just plain lazy, you can be brewing beautiful all-grain beer more quickly than ever. We're also now making our own range of small-batch fresh wort kits on the 200 litre system right here in the warehouse. Just one last thing. Mention the Brewing Network next time you're ordering online or over the phone to receive freight free on your next order of up to 15 kilos. Check out grainandgrape.com.au for conditions.
Back to your hosts, Jamil Zainasheff and John Palmer. Putting the testicles in technical. This is Brew Strong.
All right, we're back. We're talking about kind of you've got your brewery set up. You're starting to brew. You're looking at your initial accounts. Now, you guys have already got a few accounts going, but maybe we should talk about the very first account. How you get that very first account? How did you guys do it?
We're lucky. I'm sorry. We're lucky in the sense that there's a great restaurant around the corner from our little garage space in Soma called Radius. And they had come by a couple times, and they had liked what we were doing. And it was literally, I think it was probably a week ago, we had some samples come in from the brewery. And I called them up, and I was like, hey, are you guys in? And they're like, yeah. So we walked over there with our beer, like fresh out of the bright tanks, and we poured a couple glasses, and we sat back, and they bought it right away, which was great. But it seemed too easy to me. It seemed way too easy to me.
Well, and that's really, it can be that easy. And I think the thing that was going for you there is like local people that already knew you. They're not going to say no to, it's like, especially, if your brewery's near anything and you're like a regular there, especially if you've been in there eating and saying, oh, we're working on this brewery and all that. Then when the time comes, it's like, okay, yeah, we'll take your beer. They give you a shot with something. And then that's all you're really looking for is to get the beer in the door. And then the beer quality can speak for itself. People will try it. People like it. It sells well. You can use your marketing on Facebook, Twitter to drive people down there and drink that beer. Then they're like, yeah, it does well. All right, let's go ahead and do more. Most of these places can risk bringing in a 5-gallon keg. It's not going to kill their business if it doesn't do well or not, right? Mm-hmm. But you want to leverage those, initial relationships. So for me, it was, a couple places that we already knew people. They went ahead and put us on just because they knew, Roger Triple Rock. Call around him. He's like, oh, yeah, sure. Come on, send us some kegs. Right out of the gate. It's like, well, you don't even know what it is. It's okay. Go ahead. He really, really has been fantastic and supporting us. And then he's, they want to help support other breweries. and help support the craft beer community. That's what's so great about a place like that. There's places like that, all over this area. It's a great craft beer community, and they'll help you out. Now you have to be making beer that's decent enough that everybody wants to drink it, and you have to work within their parameters. But it's generally pretty easy. I think. And the thing that really helps is to go down to, in person and say, hey, I'm the brewer, and, can I talk to you about our beer, and, bring some samples with you in case they want to taste it. The weird thing is, if you go around, and I'm terrible at this, I don't want to go into a place and say, hey, yeah, owner or brewer or whatever.
You've heard of me.
Perhaps you've heard of me. I'm something of a big deal. I hate that sort of thing. So I'm just like, a lot of times people are like, how's deliveries going? I'm like, fine. Do you ever see the owner? And I'm like, well, I am. And they're like, oh, you're just a delivery person. Like, yeah, I prefer it that way.
Yeah, no, I still can't afford to hire anybody.
Yeah, it's just, but I think you want to leverage that. I think it's a special thing to a lot of craft beer consumers. They like to know who it is that's crafting what they're drinking, what they're enjoying, and I think that helps with the experience.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts are always interested to meet the brewer, find out what they're brewing next, what's special on the horizon. If they got something cool coming down the road. You've got that inside scoop. You can tell your friends about it, etc. So yeah, it's always cool to have that one-on-one.
Right, and so I'm sure other folks in the community, and they're involved in other places. One of the great things that I leverage is my relationship with good old Tasty McDole. He knows everybody, and I say, yeah, no, we went to this one place. They didn't put us on. They said no, they weren't interested, and he's like, I'll talk to him. He goes in, and we get a call going, hey, we need a couple of kegs of your beer, and it's that easy. So having other people go and talk to them, I think that kind of lays some groundwork, like you're saying. Have your minions go out and talk to people at various places, the Twitter referencing, and people see chatter about you, then it makes it much easier as well to go in. But it's as easy as load up the van, have the beer ready to go, have samples with you, dress nice, go in and say, hey, I'm owner of, or we're the owners of, we're the brewers of, and we're new. We've had great pint nights at these places where we sold out in a couple hours, and feel free to call those places and ask them what they think of our beer, and those guys will talk, and then go in and they go, well, yeah, that's pretty good. I'm like, I'm ready to deliver right now. I have beer in the van for you right now. And I
like that.
Yeah. They'll be like, oh, okay. Because sometimes they're like, yeah, maybe next week. And you go, I can deliver to you now. The thing about just taking samples around to places, a lot of places, you run across some jerks that'll just like, I'll drink it later on. It's like, well, one thing is legally you're not supposed to just leave a sample. You're supposed to open it there, and it's supposed to get sampled.
That would make more sense, really, from an owner's point of view. You want them to try it, then.
Right. Because otherwise, the risk is that I guess tax-wise, somebody leaves a case of beer samples, and then the retailer sells them, and essentially they've given them free beer. That's against the law. So you can take in one container that's sealed, and then you open it there before you leave, and then they taste it. And I've really only gotten one place that, tasted it and said, hey, sell me some beer. He was actually, yeah, I've got 2 locations. Sell me beer for both locations. He's like, it's a good beer. Yeah, all right. A lot of places, you do run across people that, they're not that sure. Unless somebody tells them a beer is good, they're not really sure it's good.
Got to bring somebody to tell them.
Right. So having, marketing materials like, here's what, the Beer Advocate ratings are. Here's what, the press clippings are. Here's all, here's the good things people are saying about it, so they can feel comfortable in saying yes. So that's, another reason there.
That could be my new job, really. Like, this is a good beer.
We actually
see. He says
buy
so.
this beer.
Yeah,
we're leaving actually.
Just need somebody like that.
When we leave here today, we're actually we're going on our first hard sales call. It's like we have to go in and we're meeting with the buyer, and we're going to sit down with them.
Uh-huh.
It's a very famous beer centric bar in San Francisco, so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going to happen, but yeah, it's they don't even, they didn't know us at all. They were like, "Who are you again?" I had to repeat it 3 times.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, okay, I've got 15 minutes at this time. You be there, and we'll talk then."
You got the 15 minutes. So you got to go in with a statement of what the beer is that makes it very clear in their mind very quickly what it would be. And black IPA, that's a very active segment of the market right now. That should be quick. It's like going and say I have an IPA or double IPA. They're all interested in that sort of thing. Hoppy beers are quick and easy to get placement on. When you're trying to do something weird, then it's tougher. But you can go in and say, yeah, it fits in. It's a hot segment of the market. Your customers, black IPA or Cascadian IPA, whatever crap people want to call it. You can go ahead and that'll get you right in, and a quick explanation, and then sample, taste this. It's a good beer, and if you can back it up with, here's the other places, here's Beer Advocate ratings, or here's Rate Beer ratings, or here's a review by such and such blogger or something like that. Just say
a lot of bloggers.
People like this, and we did real well at City Beer. We sold out in X number of hours. That kind of information, I think, you're just giving them reasons to say yes, and then you say, I got cold beer, in the van ready to go. Let's
great.
Let me get the hand truck and bring it in for you.
Do you find that a new brewery needs to be that aggressive in marketing their beer? I mean, from a consumer standpoint, I would think.
Yeah. If you want to move beer out the door.
Yeah. Like you go to a new bar, as a bar owner, I'd be like, that's a new beer. Sure, I'll try it. If I like it, if I'm not throwing up and spitting it back at you,
right.
I'll put it on. I'll see how it does. Because ultimately, my customers may not be, people reading these blogs or whatever.
I would say that 90 to 95% of the people that carry our beer at Heretic never tasted the beer before they put it on.
Wow.
So it's more off of... And one of the things I think you're going to realize is that once you get a few more accounts in, you can go to new accounts and say, well, they've got it on at,
X, Y, and Z.
Tornado or City
X, Y,
Beer,
and Z. Hot chicks.
all these different places, and if you mention them, some of these places go, well, if they've got it, then I should have it on. And it'll come a point when you don't even have to do that other bar owners go to other bars and see what they have on and try beers that they haven't heard of before. And if it's good, then you'll get a call from them saying, hey, I saw your beer down at whatever. We want to serve your beer. How do I get it? So we get how do I get it calls, and those accelerate the more places you're at. Oh, it's time for the news.
With John Palmer. John?
It's going to be windy today.
Thank you, John. Back to you, Joel.
Now back to the show.
I'm waiting for those phone calls.
Right.
When they call us, where is it? I want to figure it out.
Why isn't it here right now?
Yeah, why isn't it here?
You'll get those calls, and
someday.
I think that's one of the best things. We were wanting to get our bottled beers sent in for the GABF competition. And Rubicon in Sacramento was doing, they were consolidating beers from breweries all over Northern California. Those were going up to Sierra Nevada. Sierra Nevada was trucking them out to Denver. It was all, it didn't cost me a penny. It was wonderful. And really, really nice. And just great things for, Glenn at the Rubicon, really coordinated all of that whole thing. And how generous everybody is in the industry. So my wife had to drive the bottles out there because I was off brewing or doing something else. And she took an extra bottle out there, and he tasted it, and he's like, "Oh, great! Oh, this is nice. Like, give me a 50-liter keg of Cousin." So he put it on, and then somebody came and tasted that, or it was Twin, or whatever it was. A customer of his tasted it. He happens to own like 4 places in Sacramento. And he's like, "Well, I've got to have it." So he put it on at 2 of his places, and then somebody else tasted it and said, "Well, I tasted it down at Old Soul. I want it on at my place." So he put it on at his place, and then somebody else at another place is like, "Well, I tasted it." So it just kind of spread. So we never really went to sell any beer in the area, but one person putting it on, I think, just kind of be supportive of the community, and then like everybody all of a sudden just says, "Oh yeah, why don't I have that?" So I think that's a great way to grow your market. So you have to do the hard work and the hard sell, like you're saying, JP, of going to bars and because they're they don't have time to go research out all the newest breweries. There's so many breweries starting up. You need to go and show them that you've started up, that you have beer ready, and a lot of these startups, they don't even have beer yet. It's like, if they went around and called these places, they'd be wasting most of their time. Yeah. The breweries have to go to the bar owners and say, "We're ready. We've got beer. And, we can fulfill the need. Here, try this. Buy this, put it on." And, you break into, a dozen of those, and then, another dozen will just call you and say, "Hey, why don't I have your beer?"
Well, now, do you bring marketing materials? Like, are you guys, when you're going to your meeting today, are you bringing articles that have been written about you guys, or bios, or I don't know if
we
that's
have the site.
You do. You have the site.
So why didn't we do that, Brian?
Damn it, Patrick.
I think that was on your list.
I think you sparked the fallout and the demise of Pacific Brewing Laboratory.
Take an MSDS for the beer.
No, maybe it's not necessarily needed. Like, some people maybe don't need that. Some beer buyers don't want that. I'm a very anti-marketing salesperson. Like, I don't want to be marketed.
Right.
To.
You
just talk to me.
Right. You can just go in and talk to them and not even have a sample of the beer and get them to take the beer.
Right.
However, you're going to come across a number of people that they're going to want to see like a price sheet. They're going to want to see like a sell sheet for it and things like that. And they're going to they'll ask you, do you have tap handles? Can you give me a tap handle? It's like coasters, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
we'll get that.
It's okay to say no. Well, that's the way I start up. People are like, "All right, do you have?" I'm like, "Well, no, but I'll go ahead and get that. Yeah, I'll go ahead and order that as soon as I get home."
I'm on it.
Yeah, and they understand that. They're used to dealing with people starting up and not really knowing what the hell they're doing. It doesn't seem to faze them. They're used to it.
Yeah.
But they like it, I think, when people are prepared. And it's like you don't have to go in with like a glossy folder and a PowerPoint and 3 people wearing suits. But, you go in clean, sporting your logo gear and, talking to them in a professional way and being able to answer their questions. And, if they ask, just say, "Well, I can leave you with, pricing sheet and a sell sheet, and I think that really helps.
That raises my question. When you go in, pricing sheets, what terms do you tell them, is it they pay you right then? Or is it net 30?
You can COD them if you want. Some people, I think, get a little annoyed at that. Some people are great. There's some places where we do net 30. You cannot extend past 30 without charging interest. It's another California law thing. We're talking about distribution. Yeah, you're required to charge them interest. And most places understand that, and they will pay you before the 30 is up.
Do you charge a keg deposit?
Yes.
Okay.
We were
battling about that.
Deposit.
For the
$40
for the true value of the keg, or just industry standard?
It's industry standard, which is 30 or 40. Sierra's pushing 40.
Bevmo is 40 now.
Yeah, I would go 40. I started 30 because somebody told me 30. Distributor told me 30, and then they're like, well, now we're at 40. I'm like, well, now I got to go ahead and change everybody at the first of the year to 40.
Yeah.
Because those kegs are freaking expensive.
Yeah.
And, getting that money back on them, it actually reduces the cost of your keg float that you're doing.
Yep.
It allows you to buy more kegs, because it's money that's tied up. It's money you've spent and you're never going to get back.
Right.
The amount you get back on it is the deposits, and the rest of that money always stays tied up.
So you just take you take a deposit every time you deliver a keg, or you just take a deposit from one account and just hold that deposit?
Well, every time we deliver a keg, I hand them an invoice that has the price of the beer and has a keg deposit on it. And then we have a line on there that says, you've returned X number of kegs today. And we pick up any kegs that they have left over, and we write down, here's the 20-liter kegs, here's the 50-liter kegs. And then they get credited that on their next statement. So the next time we go, they'll have credits for keg deposits that were kegs that were returned, and then those go against kegs that are being delivered. So it kind of floats, up and down.
Okay.
We had a couple of, there's a couple of great places where, they've even overpaid. They're so good about paying. I don't know if I should mention them specifically. Like Beer Revolution, they're fantastic about paying. They're like, hey, while you're here, let me write you a check right now for whatever we might owe you, because they I don't know if they're saving a stamp. They just want to make sure they're taking good care of the breweries, which is just outstanding. Just outstanding. They put a lot of effort into making sure that they're a good relationship with you. Other places, give a damn whether you ever get your money or not. And that's one of the reasons you want to go with the distributor, because the distributor has to pay you. And whether the distributor collects or not, that's their problem. Seriously.
Good point.
One of the great things people don't realize about distributors. All right. Well, let's do this. Let's
take a break.
Take a short break, and we'll wrap up with any other questions you have and any questions in the chat right after this.
When Blickman Engineering set out to design a great brewing stand, they knew it had to be strong, adaptable, and last for a lifetime. The top-tier brewing stand is now proudly available at BlickmanEngineering.com. It grows with your brewing skills and equipment. Start with 5-gallon coolers on its heavy-gauge stainless steel shelves. Then move all the way up to 30-gallon pots on the high-output burner tiers. Speaking of burners, the custom Blickman Engineering top-tier burners are extremely powerful, efficient, and amazingly quiet. They have safety stops to center your pot, and they'll last a lifetime and won't rust. The top-tier brewing stand allows virtually infinite combinations, from traditional gravity systems to 2 tiers to completely horizontal. Configure your stand the way you want and have the freedom to change it at any time in the future. Your brewing stand should adapt with you, not force you to learn a new process. Visit BlickmanEngineering.com today to configure your top-tier brewing stand and to find a local Blickman retailer. You'll be surprised with all the flexible features and the competitive price. Start brewing with Blickman from the top tier.
In a world where everything has been lost.
What happened to the city? It's in ruins.
Only one man has the ancient knowledge to restore civilization.
I need a drink. Oh no, the liquor store's been ransacked.
You looking for beer, stranger? Boy, all the liquor got drunk up in the first 25 minutes of the apocalypse.
Wait, there's still some bottles over... Oh, no. Those are non-alcoholic beer.
I reckon you better stick to arrowroot tea and a desperate nomadic existence like the rest of us.
People, I'm a home brewer. I know how to make alcohol. It can't be done. Come with me if you want the beer. Okay, I'm gonna need some big plastic buckets.
He is the chosen one. The prophecies say that he's gonna get us wasted.
Someone start heating water. And
from the creators of Northern Brewer, the people who brought you $7.99 Brew Saver shipping, massive selection, and superior customer service comes the Homebrewer.
Hi, I'm Jamil Zanishev, and in addition to my work on the Brewing Network, I write the Style Profile column in every issue of Brew Your Own magazine.
Hi, I'm Sean Paxton, and when I'm not prepping for the Homebrewed Chef on the Brewing Network, you can find me writing articles on how to cook with your homebrew for Brew Your Own magazine.
Greetings, cretins. This is John Palmer, and when I'm not writing for Brew Your Own, I'm reading it.
John Palmer, Sean Paxton, Jamil Zanishev. If you love listening to them on the Brewing Network, you'll love reading their articles, tips, and recipes in the pages of Brew Your Own magazine. Join Jamil, John, and Sean 8 times a year in Brew Your Own. And when you subscribe to BYO on the Brewing Network website, half of your subscription price goes right back to the BN to support great beer and food programming. So sign up for Brew Your Own magazine through the BN website today so you can listen and read your way to better homebrew.
Hey, what are you doing, man?
Writing a review of WLP 400.
What? You're reviewing yeast?
Yeah. White Labs has home brewer reviews of all their strains. Are you new to these interwebs? Check it out.
That's awesome.
White Labs, your source for great yeast, invites all brewers to visit whitelabs.com to read and write your own reviews of all their yeast strains. Get real-world tips and tricks from other brewers who have made the most of their vials and post your own experiences. It's another way White Labs brings you closer to the best yeast on the planet.
And send. There you go.
You misspelled flocculate, dude.
What?
White Labs. It's all in the vial.
Back to the beer guys that make other beer guys look like wine guys. Brew Strong.
All right, we're back. We're talking about kind of breaking into the markets with your new product as a pro brewer. And speaking of breaking in,
here we go.
What?
This has got to be an Adam and Eve commercial.
Oh yeah!
Jeez, breaking out maybe.
Fellas, gals, are you looking to spice things up in the bedroom?
King of the segue.
Been fantasizing about surprising your lover with an adventurous new toy or adult movie? Well, here's an offer you won't be able to resist. Go to adamandeve.com, and for a limited time only, you'll get 50% off just about any item.
Oh, yeah.
But that's not all. When you select your one item at 50% off, you'll also receive 3 free adult DVDs.
Yes.
Just
did I say that out loud?
Yeah. And actually, they let you choose the DVDs. Probably not from just any of them.
Muppets Take Manhattan.
But they let you choose so you actually get your preference.
Jeez.
I knew that was coming.
Oh. Sorry.
I was supposed to read this thing nice and clean, and you guys are messing it up. It's not me. That's the problem here on this show, right?
My fault.
So essential, an extra gift so essential you can't mention on the radio. Top it off, they'll throw in free shipping on the entire order. So it is a really good deal. They have like tens of thousands of items that if you want to enjoy in the bedroom or kitchen, bathroom, garage, wherever it might be,
sold with
your special partner, they've got it, and it's actually a screaming deal here. You get 50% off an item, and it's just about any item. And you type Jamil, Jamil, for the offer code, and then you're going to get 3 free DVDs. You actually get to pick from a lot of DVDs, and you get a free extra gift, and you get free shipping. So you pay half price on one item, and then you get a whole bunch of stuff for free and free shipping. It's really quite a good deal. So use
Christmas
the offer code.
Here.
Yeah, exactly. Jamil at adamandeve.com. And don't forget, they have their mobile site, which is m.adameve.com. And you can even do this mobile while you're,
doing it mobile
in the airport bathroom. Like that's usually where I access.
It's got to be great to know just from having your own name as a code.
It's a code.
Because somewhere afterwards, there's some wife or some pleased lover who's like, oh, where did you get that? Oh, I got him on Adam and Eve, and then he's going,
just type
and
my
I
name,
used the code name Jamil. Oh shit! Now forever I've.
And then all of a sudden it's like, what happened? How come you went limp? All right.
I want a code.
Devolution.
Yeah. You know you've made it when you got a code. AdamandEve.com. I was explaining this to my wife the other night. Adam and Eve, we were watching like Tosh or something like this, and the Adam and Eve ad came on. I said, oh, and I did the whole read for her while it was paused. And she's like, what? I'm like, we do this on the show. It's one of our sponsors. And I played it for her, and she goes, I thought you were kidding when you said you were doing commercials. I said, no, I'm really doing them. And she's like, oh, okay. Yeah,
and really well, nice. Too, by the way.
Why, thank you.
You're welcome.
Didn't she wonder where all the stuff was coming from?
Yeah. I'll tell you. Good sponsor. Yeah, they're one of our sponsors. So, like all our sponsors...
we appreciate them.
Check them out. Yeah, they're actually ponying up cash so you can listen to this for free. If they didn't do it, you would not be getting the show for free. So check it out. Worth good business. Everyone seems quite happy purchasing from them.
Not that there's anything wrong with ponies.
Oh God!
I think Palmer's going. You've changed since the first show to now. Your whole demeanor and how you behave on the show has completely changed.
Just gone downhill, hasn't it? Yeah.
It has. You start out great information, a little uptight. Now you're just like totally out there and loose. Well, and every once in a while you throw out a nugget. Come on.
Well,
what the heck?
When I mash, it's usually about 148 or something, depending on thing. And now it's like ponies and shit, dildos and ponies.
Mash pedals and ponies.
That's an accurate assessment, I think, there, JP. I think that's spot on.
What do we know something about our friend John Palmer?
No, I give up on that.
Really?
I couldn't keep it going.
It's my new mission to write for you now.
All right. Yeah, you keep writing me material. I'll go with it.
You want a question from the chat?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. This combined question from the chat was more, addressed to Heretic, but I think it expands well for our guests as well. At what point do you feel it's time to expand your market? At what point do you feel, okay, I've kind of dominated this little area I am in, right. Now I'm going to try to make a push? Some breweries just jump the Midwest, which, I would love to do my whole life. Just go West Coast all the way to the East Coast first. Right, that's their next point of expansion.
There's a whole huge thing on that, and it's a good question. There's a few theories on how you do this becoming national or international, right? Now, you can, the traditional way is to start in your local area, saturate that area. Once you're fully saturated in that area, you expand out and you go to the next larger area and you saturate that area and you go from there and all that. The other model is, to go thin and shallow. And some people say Jolly Pumpkin, because one of the way that Jolly Pumpkin's distributed by Shelton Brothers is you get Jolly Pumpkin just about everywhere, but not in great quantities, And it's
always a rare beer
everywhere, right? A big part of the difference is when you go to distribute beer, and other people have told me this as well. If you're going to open up a market, you have to be willing to support that market. And what support means is you got to have somebody there on the ground to support that, understands your products and your brewery to the nth degree, and can talk about it and can promote it and can be the friendly face there on the ground. You got to go with the distributor to retailer meetings. You've got to do sales training with the distributor. You got to do a lot of this stuff. We're doing Southern California, and I've spent the last 3 weeks in Southern California just doing pint nights and meeting with distributors and, doing sales meetings, all sorts of these things. And if you're unable to do that, if you open a market in, Pittsburgh, it's like, well, one plane ticket to Pittsburgh is going to kill all your profit from Pittsburgh probably, right?
Fair enough.
So you need to be careful about that. So you need to kind of watch what markets you're opening Now,
is it a money issue all the time, or is it like
it's always
choice of what kind of brewery you want to be? Do you want to be a regional brewery or a national brewery, or just in the city?
You can. Here's a good example: is like Moonlight, Bryan Hunt. Brilliant guy, great beers. He's kept it small this whole time, mainly by only doing everything himself, everything. But he is capable of working 16, 18 hours a day, nonstop, all by himself, 7 days a week, 365 a year.
How old is he?
22.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
He's not human. And being able to do that's just amazing to me. I mean, I barely do 1/5 of the work at Heretic, and it's exhausting for me, right? That's just amazing. But that limits you to a certain number of barrels. You can make a nice living at it, do that. I want to be flying the private corporate jet. So let's
get real here.
I need to go. I need to go. National, international. I need to be, expanding this thing. And, for that I need to grow my markets, and I need to, grow my production. Well, the strategic locations for beer in the U.S. are California, Northern California, Southern California. L.A. has come on quite a bit, but San Diego, L.A., San Francisco Bay Area. Then you have, you can do Washington and Oregon. It's kind of like Portland and Seattle, right? You can do Denver, and then Pittsburgh.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard Pittsburgh.
As opposed to Pittsburgh, California, where you're located.
That's right. 3 River City, baby.
Or Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania.
Come on, man. Steel Town, baby.
Yeah.
So Pennsylvania.
Philly or New York?
Philly. Yeah, what did I say? Pittsburgh, Philly. Pennsylvania, yeah. Philadelphia. So 5 states. Mm-hmm. It's essentially where Russian River's sold, and especially and a lot of these other breweries, it's cherry picking. Those are the markets that are just crazy for craft beer, and that's where you're going to sell the majority of your beer. There's breweries in San Diego that told me their next biggest market after San Diego is Philadelphia.
And that's because Pliny made it there?
No, it's just because they're like beer geek lover.
Gotcha.
Folks. So, the problem with that is it's a very hard market to support from a distance. So you need to be careful about that. That's one of the reasons why you start in your market. You can go to the various venues, be there for pint nights, talk to the retailer. Even when they're not carrying your beer, you want to go in and say, hi, how you doing? You want to go have a pint of something else and talk to them, tell them what you're doing at the brewery, keep in communication with those guys. So if you open up the Philly market, then, it's kind of a distance. I've got folks asking in different markets, and I'm sure you will too. And, it's in New York, it's Minnesota, it's Chicago, it's Nashville, it's, Idaho. We did Idaho for... because they have somebody who can sell the beer to 35 states mail order.
Wow, you're in Boise?
Yeah, we're in Boise. Oh yeah. Well, and it's funny because they've got it out in the marketplace and people are snapping it up and talking about it. But it's it's difficult for me to support Idaho, and when I talk to them, those folks, they're just like, could you make it out for a pint night? Now you're selling your beer out there. Now they want me to go to Idaho for a pint night. And it's like, I like Idaho. It's a little bit of a distance for me to travel. But in order to keep that market open, that's what you got to do. So you got to be careful about how you expand. And you also need to expand based off your production. This could be a whole other show.
Yeah, I was looking at the time we have left, and like, oh, God, I hope he's like,
he shuts up.
This isn't a long...
long-ass answer. Yeah.
I do have another quick question. If you were done with that point.
Okay. Sure.
This is from our good buddy Tour. Hello, Tour. I have a question. Is it hard to put together that portfolio of beers that will sell, but still set your brewery aside from the other breweries?
What? I was reading the note you handed me, so I missed the question.
I was hoping. Is it hard to put together that portfolio of beers that will sell but still set your brewery apart from other breweries? So, like, for example, the Evil Twin, did you have any doubts that it would actually sell? It would be kind of set itself apart in the market.
I have doubts that anything will sell, but that's just me and my personality.
Well, that is true.
I'll tell you what. If you stay tuned for the next show,
you want to
we'll talk about marketing and how you present your beers, and that I think marketing has a lot to do with the portfolio of beers you develop and why you develop a given portfolio.
Sounds good. And real quick, one last question for the guys: has being professional brewers ruined the hobby of homebrewing?
I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
But if you really focus on...
You haven't brewed enough yet, then.
I knew this was going to happen. Most people say that, your favorite hobby turned into a business ruins the hobby.
Yeah.
But I just love the whole business around this hobby. I love that you can take brewing and beer and sell it, and it becomes into a fun business. I think you have to love business and your hobby, and then you have to mesh them together.
So diplomatic.
So
diplomatic.
I think it definitely takes away a little bit. You're not as free as you used to be. You can't just screw around in the garage all day. You got to go out and sell.
Yeah.
But I still enjoy it, and I think it's a perfect marriage of business and hobbies. That's my 2 cents.
Good answer. Vote for him.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything at this point.
Good job.
I don't think you should.
Good job, Patrick and Bryan.
Ruin it.
It's all been done.
Thanks for joining us from Pacific Brewing Laboratory, and look for their beers out in the area soon. And what you don't know about my good friend John Palmer? I once saw him eat his weight in airplane peanuts. Believe it or not. True story.
Those peanuts and legumes.
Legumes, yes.
Ponies.
Nerd. Well, actually, the peanut was brought to...
Not quite a nut.
Brought to the West by
I got a nut for you. All right.
Only one?
Okay. Yeah. Well, if you get a chance, check out our sponsors, especially Blickman Engineering. BlickmanEngineering.com. Blickman with 2 N's. Great folks. They got a lot of innovative products that will help your brew day go a lot better. Mm-hmm. And if you're opening up a nano brewery, they even got nano brewery stuff. So I would check that out and then seriously consider them, because you'll get the support you need from Blickman Engineering. It's really tremendous. Check out the Brewing Network store, brewingnetwork.com/store. There's books, there's shirts, there's hats, there's glasses, all sorts of great stuff. And when you buy that cool stuff, that actually goes to the bottom line of the Brewing Network and helps support
ramen.
Justin in his quest to be gainfully unemployed. That's what you're helping doing, and it makes shows like this possible. The brilliance of that guy. So be sure to support. And other than that, I think you should brew strong.
Brew strong, everybody.